Hello, I'm Pat Connell with Vicodin University, training humans to train themselves. And today we're going to talk about New Year's resolution fears or being crushed. So if you've ever taken on a New Year's resolution and it just didn't work, I mean, you tried, maybe you've done it many times and you finally just given up, I mean, for weight loss, for money, for becoming a better parent, or doing whatever, making your $1,000,000 or finding, doing whatever you decided you wanted to do, you just finally just gave up. Okay. Or you did this not as a New Year's resolution, but you just took on this goal of, I'm going to do this in life, and you went for it really hard, maybe tried 2 or 3 years, and finally you just got crushed and you said, I guess it isn't for me. Okay, those are the places a lot of people end up seeing themselves. And the question we want to ask is, well, what can you do? What can you do? I mean, when you think about your New Year's resolution or thing, you see these horrible experiences, and the pictures in your mind, you see that it was hard, that it was, that it hurt. You feel all this ugliness about it, and that's what you see in your mind. Okay, so we're going to ask, what can you do about it? You were crushed, you failed, you found out the limit of who you are and what you could become. Okay, so the thing that a lot of people do at this point is they start looking, well, is there a way I can maybe trick the system or cheat the system? Or maybe if I try enough times, I'll get lucky. And they keep hoping to get lucky one time. Okay, what we're going to be talking about today is training. And that's simply saying that if you train yourself, you become the person for which you want to accomplish. It is natural. Now, the challenge is there's so much confusion about training, and people think training is hard. Becoming the person you need or want to become is hard, and it's not. If you know what you're doing. That's what we here at Vicodin University are doing. We're training humans to train themselves. The standard way is to let someone else train you and hope for the best. But they never want to take you to your goals. They want to take you to their goals. And even if they talk to you about what can I do to help, they may have the best intention, but they want their goals. Okay, for you to get your goals, you have to be the one be responsible for and training yourselves. So with training, here you are. You got to really get that you are a human, a creature of habit, that is a set of habits or skills or what you can do, and whatever that is, that gets you what you get out of life. If you want more, you just simply have to train yourself to become a different person, to have different skills, and you'll get different things out of life. So it's to train yourself to become that person that you need to become to get what you want out of life. So the question you want to be asking yourself is, who do I need to become, and how can I train myself to become that person? And the question is it possible? And the answer is yes. Training a human is easy, as long as you do it the proper way and don't get confused by what society says. See, we think that we need to drive or this creature that we have to do things it can't do, so we start to force it to do these things. So force is a huge way that people train. Oh, I don't like push-ups. Well, force yourself. No pain, no gain. And, they go through a lot of different things like that. So we're going to try to clean up a little bit of that today, but just a little, just to get you started. But training a human is easy. But the key is these ideas that you are limited. Okay, I know you might feel limited. You might feel that it's impossible. You might feel that it can never be done because you've tried and you have all these, because you have these pictures in your mind that are generating these feelings. So what we're going to talk about is the 5 steps of training. And one of the first steps is, do you know how to, the person that can accomplish this, do you know what that person would look like? What would they have to do? What would they have to, be able to accomplish? Yeah, most of us go, we've read books on the how-to books. Well, if you want to become a millionaire, you got to do this, 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 this. Okay, or if you want to become a movie star, you got to do this. If you want to become a sports, how to do it is promoted out there over and over again. And there is this concept that knowledge is power, but knowledge is only powerful if it's used. And that's the key. How do we get it into use? And the key is step number 2. We start seeing ourselves being able to do these things and loving it. In other words, when you wanted to picture, you start with say, well, you got to do push-ups. You go, well, I don't like to do push-ups. Well, you have a challenge there. So you got to somehow become some sort of an advertiser to yourself, so you learn to love it. Oh, I love to do push-ups. And you see pictures in your mind of doing things, and you feel good about yourself. So this is step number 2, is getting yourself, seeing yourself wanting and loving and doing a superbly thing right. Now, this is all in your mind. So step number 2 is seeing yourself doing it in your mind. And we'll talk a lot more about that. Number 3 is playing with it and playing with it. Okay? And that simply means when you first do anything, you're not going to be good at it, you're going to fail. But if you've got these pictures in your mind going, wow, this is so great, me doing this, this, and this, and you focus on that, and as opposed to, oh, you can't do it, so you're focused on failure. No, you're focusing on the pictures of what you want to accomplish. And you're going, well, if I do this, oh, there it is, oh, there it is. You start figuring out what it is. You get so focused on these wonderful feelings that you've generated in your mind and that you can do, that you stay focused there. And anything that doesn't do it, you totally ignore. You just think, oh, well, that's part of the process. And you keep going and going and going. And step number, after you start to figure out some of the things that do work, you start practicing them. Okay, and getting better at them, and you then work on them and practice them. Next thing you know, you start putting yourself in, shall we say, really challenging situations, just letting go, so to speak, that flow thing that everybody talks about. But now flow is doing what? Doing something that you're going, wow, this is important, and I'm in flow and something that's important, and now you just let it go, and it's amazing. You can do this. This is where, the movie stars are, the people, the sports stars are in their simple games. In other areas of life, there may be their family, or in other areas, whatever it may be, they're political or they're intelligent in what really should be done to help society. Okay, where they're not so good, but people think there should be because they're good at whatever they do. You can become good at what you do. So flow in your area, okay, and get that balance. That's the one clue, because remember, a balanced human actually does work better if you have that support of a good family, a good friends, things like that. If you eat right, your body supports you. There's so many things, but a balanced human works better. Okay, just keep it balanced enough and don't overdo it, and get focused on what is important to you as well as keeping that balance. Okay, now, so here it is. You're crushed. How do you move from crushed to getting these pictures of you doing something and becoming successful at it, and start removing these limits and senses of what I can do? Okay, so it's all a part of training. Went through the 5 steps here. First thing is seeing yourself doing it. Now, that skill of being able to generate those things, of seeing yourself being successful, is a skill you got to generate. So training yourself is a skill, and most people are not trained in how to train themselves. So again, the easy thing would be to think, okay, well, training is my way to success, and I need to go out there and look for people to train me. And you can have people train you, but you also want to start learning to train yourself specifically, and definitely be responsible for it. But that's a skill too. Okay, so use every means you can out there, and you got to train yourself. I mean, learning to love things so that you just want to do it is a skill. Okay. People say, oh, you're just lucky you love it so much. No, you can generate that. It is trainable, and it needs to be trainable, okay? Because you're going to first find one thing that you need to love to generate, then another, then another, then another, because you need to take them to really a superb level to really make things work and come together, okay? If you just sort of say, I can do that, 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 and I like it okay. Well, that'll get you somewhat, but if you really want something really great, you really got to train yourself to really love what you do. They always say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, it isn't that you find the thing that you need to do. You need to train yourself so that the things you need to do, you love. Now, you really got to get that. You got to train yourself to love the things you need to do. Okay, and it's possible. It's a trainable skill. So that's how does the training work? Okay, so again, in one of the videos we talked about looking at advertisers. They get people to do people to smoke cigarettes, which is you just hate to do. Okay, a person's body rejects it. It's burning gas in their lung. It hurts. It's a wretched smell. And you might have something about, but they work on it and they get you to do it anyway. And then you end up actually falling in love and loving what you do. Then you buy and you go to all sorts of means to buy these expensive cigarettes so that you can have them. Okay, so remember, you may think it is impossible, but it's not. You can train yourself to do the work and love the work that you need to do, because it's like, who says, I mean, you can always say, who says this? Sit-ups are supposed to be hard. Sit-ups are, you're not supposed to like doing sit-ups. I mean, some people love to do sit-ups. Some people, wow, this is sexy, or this is intelligence. I don't know what you want to try. You want to try, but you can feel that they're very important things to do. So, training yourself. Now let me just get this. You really got to get. You're sitting here at this bottom of crushed, impossible, or whatever it is, or see yourself as limited to only be able to do this, and you need to break out of it. And the way you break out of it is by starting to get yourself to picture yourself doing more than you can do. More than you can do. Picture yourself, then actually break it down to a little step. Now, you want to understand that this process is going to take some time. It isn't going to happen overnight. Okay, it's like if you decide, okay, I'm going to generate this movie of a successful person. Okay, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of scenes, lots and lots of devastating scenes where you overcome struggle, overcome this, overcome that, overcome this, or where they fall in love, or where this happens, or where that happens, or get distracted. Who knows what the situation is? But it's a long movie, and you're going to be the one to produce it. And in any one set of the movie, there's going to be tiny little place they go cut. Then they have to put the movie together, or throw away pieces and stuff like that. So as we do this, remember, you're going to take it one at a time, okay, and produce these, but you got to start picturing yourself being successful at that little next step. The little next step, see yourself being successful at it, loving doing it. In fact, not only see yourself at it, but actually loving doing it in your mind, and then playing around with it until you do love it in reality, then practicing it so you do love it. It's like, oh man, I just love it. Oh, it feels so good when I... And we've all experienced this, but the challenge is we need to get in charge of it so that we can, so to speak, create this process on demand. On demand. I mean, I remember when I learned to play basketball a little bit, I was horrible at it, and little by little I got better and better after college, and you played, just pickup ball, but there it was like, I got a little this, a little that, and I first, I can do this, and then I practiced it, and then I got it to work better, and then I practiced it some more, and then better, and then it was like, man, I just love doing this, and it was like, choo, choo, choo. So you really got to get that step by step, you're going to create this process, this movie that's going to take you to become the person you want to become, so that you can do the things that you need to do to get to where you get to your goals and dreams. Okay, all right, that's the objective here, but step by step. So crushed, broken, start the process, set some objectives out there, and so, hey, who knows, just right now, just what sort of start seeing something that you could do, and taking a little bit of that negative energy and moving back from all that I can't do it, and first seeing it in your mind, playing around with it. Understand you're going to be horrible to start with, but focus on those wonderful pictures, and the next thing you know, you're going to start moving forward. Now, you really got to understand this is a very important thing to do, is to step back and develop these skills of loving to do it, this machine of developing and training yourself. As a high school graduate and also as a college graduate, you sort of, at that age, kids sort of come out arrogantly thinking they can conquer the world. They can save the world. Okay, I did. Okay, and then we get crushed, and then we start seeing that people start training us. Life's hard. You can't beat City Hall, and we start seeing the limits. Oh, you're really not that type of person, and you start seeing limits and stops and blocks and things of that nature, and you've really got to start saying, okay, I'm going to create a video, and I understand all that exists out there, and I'm going to say that, yeah, I am limited right now. That's who I am. I'm a limited, creature of habit. I can only do this much, but I can train myself so I can do more. I can train myself so I can do more. So I'll train myself a little bit and see what happens. I'll train myself a little more, see what happens. I'll train myself a little bit more, and you're going to start developing this training process. And that's our goal here at Vicoding Unit, training humans to train themselves. Once they get that training process, then all of a sudden the limits start to disappear. All of a sudden the things that who you want to become starts to grow and develop and create more energy. Just your life starts to explode with excitement and energy. So stop, and just step back and take a deep breath and go, okay, I've been crushed, but that's just because that's all I was trained to be. I was a little too arrogant to take on that project. Now I need to train myself so I can take on a bigger project, then a bigger project. And I can be, as I develop this training machine, so to speak, I can start to have maybe some of that arrogance to say, I can train myself to become whoever I want to be. Those limits can melt away. Those things of what I want to become can happen. Okay. Here we are. So there we go. So if you've had fears, or you've been by fears of New Year's resolutions, or you've been crushed sometime with some big goal you set, just take a deep breath, step back, and start thinking training. I'm starting to develop myself as a trainer of myself, and I'm going to take myself to and train myself to become the person I need to become to get those things that I want out of life. All right. Vicoding University, training humans to train themselves.